Hi, and a very pleasant good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series from Snowden Grove Park here in South Haven, Mississippi. I'm your host, Ted Rutan. Our first matchup in the 12-year-old World Series is the Greenville All-Stars from Greenville, Mississippi, and they are at bat leading off, Kentavious Caston. On the mound for the Albany All-Stars from Albany, Georgia, will be Grayson Spears. His battery mate behind the plate, Scoot Peterson. Here's the 1-0. Upstairs, ball 2. We'll get the defense set for you here in a moment. A beautiful day for baseball. Stay away, Barry. The tropical storm / hurricane might be coming this way, but not for a couple of days. Let's hope it's rain, go away. 2-1 the count on Kentavious Caston. Spears from the full windup. Outside, 3 balls and a strike. A little bit of a breeze blowing out today at this time. And that one is ball 4 outside. Leadoff walk to start things off here. Jaquavius Nash fouls one away. It said just call him Quay. Quay will be the catcher for Greenville. Right now, all we have for their defensive lineup is the battery. They will change their defensive players around during the game. Spears from the stretch. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Throw down to first. Caston back easily. One the count on Quay Nash. Runner not going. Chopper to third. Charging is Turner. He's going to fire across the diamond at first, and it is not in time. Hustling down the line, Quay Nash gets an infield single on a slow chopper. Pretty nice play there by Ashton Turner. His throw over to Douglas was close, but Nash legs out an infield single. First and second, nobody out. Greenville threatening here in the first. And this will bring up number 1, Kennedy Walker. So Nash at first, Douglas not holding him on. Caston at second. Pitch is called a strike on the outside corner. From the stretch. Looks the runner back again. Now he deals. Swing and a miss. Big cut from Walker. No balls and 2 strikes. Outfield covering the lines. Big gaps in both left center and right center. The center fielder, Riker Moore, right on top of the Dizzy Dean logo. Swing and a miss. Got him on 3 pitches. First out recorded by Spears is a swinging strikeout. Now the cleanup hitter, number 27, John Haggard. Murdoch over to cover, now backs away. Got him with a changeup, and the ball gets away. The runners will advance. Nice change of speeds there from Spears. Enticed the swing from Haggard, but the ball was outside, so the runners move up to second and third. 1 out here in the top of the first. Spears gets his sign, sets, and deals. Outside corner, no balls, 2 strikes. Let's see what Spears goes with here. Will he try to change speeds one more time? Fouled away, sliced over the first base dugout. So the count remains. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, runners at second and third for the cleanup hitter, John Haggard. And he'll step out, time's called. Foul straight back. Haggard hanging in there. Good battle on this at bat. Some more fans rolling in from the Albany, Georgia contingent. Spears deals, swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts will leave the runners at second and third with 2 outs. And we're going to have a visit to the mound, perhaps a pitching change due to the pitch count. I'm not sure yet. While we have a moment, we certainly want to thank some of our fine sponsors here. Champion T-Shirts, the national sponsor of the Dizzy Dean World Series. Design your shirts online. GoChampion.net. Also, Bodden Sports Equipment, the coaches and players' choice for 30 years. Bodden Sports. And we certainly want to thank David Sunflower Seeds. Hey, every player in the Dizzy Dean World Series will receive a free bag of the David Sunflower Seeds. Conference is over. Spears will remain on the mound. 2 outs. Caston at third, Nash at second. Dietrich Cooper steps in for the Greenville All-Stars. Spears finally delivers out. Oh, they are calling that a strike on the outside corner. Home plate umpire Ed Baxter says that one caught a piece. Kevin Hall is out on the bases. Breaking ball called. Strike 2. Kind of buckled the knees of Cooper there. So after a leadoff walk, an infield single, back-to-back strikeouts, and we now have 0-2 the count on Dietrich Cooper. Swing and a miss. After the first 2 runners get on, Grayson Spears strikes out the side. Greenville All-Stars, nothing. Albany All-Stars coming to bat. Welcome back to South Haven, Mississippi, Snowden Grove Park, the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series. We'd like to thank some of our sponsors. Diamond Baseballs, the official baseball of the Dizzy Dean World Series. Protect Youth Sports. They provide premier background checks on coaches, umpires. Don't put your organization at risk. And also Rawlings Sporting Goods, the mark of a pro. Rawlings Sporting Goods. I've had a Rawlings glove since I was a kid, and that's a long, long time ago, folks. Hey, leading things off for the Albany All-Stars, the second baseman, number 17, Hill Murdoch. On the mound for Greenville, Janarian Morgan. First pitch, down low, ball one. Behind the plate for the Greenville All-Stars is Quay Nash. Downstairs, 2 balls, no strikes to Murdoch. Out in the outfield defensively for Greenville, from left to right is Caston left, Walker in center, and Rhodes in right. Morgan winds and delivers. This one's upstairs. 3 balls, no strikes to the leadoff hitter, Murdoch. Around the infield, Wade at third, Haggard at short, Cooper at second, and Scott at first. That sets the Greenville defense. 3-0 the count, and Murdoch takes on the 3-0 count. It's now 3-1. The wind and delivery, inside corner, runs the count full. Austin Newman, the head coach for Albany. Morgan's delivery. Swing, and this ball is lifted into center field. Walker drifts back. No problem. 1 up, 1 down. Until Walker is, that's Kennedy Walker out in center field, playing a touch deeper than his counterpart from Albany. Moy was right on that Dizzy Dean logo in center field. And the left fielder, Caston, playing much closer to center than did his counterpart Ferguson from Albany. So a little different styles in the defensive setup for these ball clubs. Scoot Peterson, the catcher, steps in, and he looks at one upstairs. Breaking ball inside corner, evens the count at a ball and a strike. Morgan winds and delivers, just up and in. 2-1 the count on Scoot Peterson. Swing and a miss. Big cut there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The wind and delivery. Got him swinging. 2 up, 2 down. Pretty good fastball there from Janarian Morgan. This will bring up the shortstop, number 22, Watson Swan. Strike called on the outside corner. Foul back. Quickly ahead is Morgan. No balls and 2 strikes. The wind-up and delivery. Inside. Swan leans back. On deck, the right fielder, Jimmy McGowan. Morgan winds and delivers. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts will end the bottom of the first after one complete. No score here in South Haven, Mississippi. Welcome back to the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series. We want to thank Sadler Insurance. They provide us sports and recreation insurance for the Dizzy Dean World Series. And of course, Schutt Sports, baseball's best fitting helmet, massive performance. And Steelberry, the patch supplier of the Dizzy Dean World Series, creating memories for these players and their families. Hey, we are lucky now. We are joined by Diane Baker from Schutt Sports. And Diane, it's a pleasure to have you back. We've had a chance to do this a few times, and always a pleasure to see you. Welcome here to South Haven.
Well, I am so thrilled to be here again. I look forward to this trip. And I got to be honest with you, when I woke up this morning, I thought it would be raining, and we have a gorgeous day, no humidity. The storm has not come this way this far yet.
Let's keep it there. Let's keep it away from
So this is the first time that I've been here that I could breathe, and I'm not sweating to death.
That's it. Well, I remember last year we were up in another booth, and it was hot, hot, hot. And the year before, it was 102, and we were down on the field. So this is great here this time.
Yeah, I'll take this any day. I'm scheduled to be in a New Orleans area starting tomorrow. I'm not sure that I'm going to get there, so I'm looking forward to seeing these young men play the game.
Chandler Wade is the batter for Greenville. 0-2 the count after that change up there from Grayson Spears. This one's outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now, Diane, tell us a little bit about some of the changes that have gone on here. This Tucci.
Yes, we bought the Pete Tucci bat company this last year. We're introducing the wooden bats to baseball. They are by far some of the best bats in the country, and they're hand split, which makes a stronger bat. And they're used by 72 Major League Baseball players. So we're thrilled to have that addition to our baseball line. I oversee baseball and softball, so I'm thrilled to have some extra things. We also have batting gloves we're introducing and some other things, so we're thrilled.
So you've expanded from some of the things that you started with, which I know were helmets and perhaps some of the bases and things like that. 3-2 the count, fouled away. Wade spoils that one.
Well, we still make the best helmet in the country. I think every manufacturer knows that, but we're trying to expand our line to give the needs of baseball what they need.
I noticed on the brochure that you brought in, you've got the Tucci on the helmets and the bats.
Yes, we are scheduled to change.
Ball's lifted into center. Out there, no problem for Riker Roy.
Yeah, I wanted to see that play, but we're scheduled to change the name of Schutt in baseball, softball to Tucci next year.
So
The whole line will be changed over. We feel like the name will represent us a little bit better. We will stay Schutt in football, but we're looking forward to the new branding.
And I know that Shutt was in Illinois.
Yes, it still is.
And so Tucci, is that?
He's in Connecticut. His factory's in Connecticut. He comes back and forth to Illinois. We go up there, but he will stay in Connecticut, where his baseball factory is.
And it's great to have an American company.
Well, we have always been an American-made company, and we're fighting to stay that way. Every day becomes a little bit more difficult, but we make the best in the United States of America, and we're very proud of that.
Dennis Scott, the hitter, 2-0 the count. Again, joined by Diane Baker. And Diane, you get a chance to go to a lot of these tournaments. And by the way, I know that's work, but it's also got to be an enjoyable experience for you to go and see these baseball players and softball players play throughout the country.
Well, you know, I was a 30-year college coach, and I learned my softball through baseball in New Jersey and New York. Through some of the best players in the country, and so anytime I can get on the field with baseball, I'm thrilled to be back home. These young men are very talented. It's fun to watch their strategies and seeing them calm down. Like the first two pitchers started a little bit rough and got right back into it in the first inning and struck out the sides. That's just getting relaxed on the mound. So I'm thrilled to be here and share the game with you.
Strike call, full count on Derek Scott. About how many tournaments do you go visit a year? I mean, I know it's got to be quite a few, because with the softball and baseball, it keeps you going.
Probably anywhere from 35 to 50, depending on what's going on this year. Next year will be the Olympic tour. They usually go to 31 states in 71 days, which is a very tough schedule. That's just softball. So it will be rather busy next year. It's the hardest tour that I've been on. So between baseball and softball, you're probably looking at 60 dates next year to be on the road with.
Strike one called on Janarian Morgan. Scott over at first. Not a big lead. We haven't seen anyone attempt to steal yet in this ball game. 1 out, 1 on here in the top of the second. Swing and a miss from Morgan. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, he's tiptoeing back to the base. He doesn't look very aggressive, like he wants to steal right now. So taking a little bit of a lead, and so they're probably not worried about him at the moment.
Foul back our way and drops harmlessly. No balls, 2 strikes remains the count. Now, one of the things that always impressed me about your helmets was the ability for someone to get a helmet and then resize it as they.
Right. We're the only company that really has our insides of our helmets that can be screwed out and changed for sizing, like the D30. All you do is take 4 screws, unscrew it like you do a football helmet, and then resize it for the guys and the girls. And now with our new XR1, we have more protection, and we're able still to take that insides out to resize. So it certainly gives the parents a little bit relief to know that they don't have to buy a new helmet as their son's head grows a little bit.
Morgan looks at one on the outside corner, so there are 2 outs now here, and this will bring up Camaris Rose, the right fielder, number 6. He looks at the ball outside. Scott on first, 2 outs, top of the second. Greenville All-Stars at bat. Albany All-Stars from Albany, Georgia in the field. Grayson Spears sets, kicks and deals.
I've noticed that these young men still attempt.
Yeah, that was even close after the ball got to the backstop. So
right.
I'm not sure he's really looking as much as he was giving that one.
I've noticed all these young men are using aluminum bats, and the trend right now is to go to wood because of the safety of the game. So as they grow up to get a little bit older, they're going to see a change that they're going to have to use wooden bats.
Now, with the Tucci bats, what type of wood do they use?
Mostly it's maple. 95% of maple. We do have birch and ash, but 95% of the bats are maple. for a stronger bat. Like I said, they're split hand. They run the length of a tree, the tree, the way that you would cut a tree, and it gives you a much stronger bat.
Attempted bunt is missed, and Scott takes third. I think that was more of a relief to fall down than slide, but he's in there safely.
That's right. That's right.
So now 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count on Camaris Rhodes. 2 outs. They had him show bunt last time. I'm not sure they want him bunting here.
No, I think that was a steal attempt all the way. They brought that third baseman up on the bunt. They faked that bunt and let that guy run to third, so it's just a steal. Just taking that defensive player out of it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Spears from the stretch delivers. Strike 3 call. So 5 strikeouts in 2 innings for Grayson Spears. We'll go to the bottom of the second. No score. Welcome back to Snowden Grove Park here in South Haven, Mississippi. The 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series. Again, I'm Ted Rutan, joined by Diane Baker from Shut Sports, soon to be called Tucci.
That's correct.
That's great. That's great stuff. I know we've had the chance to talk over the years about the helmets and explain some of about the bases.
Well, we are the Major League Baseball bases. When you see those bases come up on the games every so often, they're actually pulling them up, putting new ones down so they can sign those bases and sell them. But they're our logo, and anybody can put their logos on these bases, either on the top or the 4 sides. So a lot of coaches take advantage of that. They really like that. I suggest they put it on the side because when you put it on top, people step on it and the logo goes away.
Right.
But yeah, they're Major League Baseball bases that we have on the field. We also sponsor the awards here for the tournament, and we do many home plates. And we give them out at the, usually I give them out, but I'm not going to be here, but it's really kind of a cool.
I have seen them, and they are spectacular,
Yeah.
and I've seen them here in the years past, too.
Yeah.
Jimmy McGowan is at the plate. We don't want to forget our players here. Jimmy, the right fielder, 2 balls and 1 strike, and you noticed something about the pitcher, Janaria Morgan, coming out for this inning.
Yeah, I thought he came out very confident looking. kind of had that stroll to him that I think that's a foul ball maybe.
And that is a foul ball. Boy, battling the sun it looked like out there was Camaris Rhodes. And he's probably fortunate that was about 6 inches foul.
That's right. I just like the way Mr. Morgan strolled out to the mound. He looked very confident. I was curious to see him pitch to see if that confident walk would translate to his pitching, and it has. A very good-looking athlete, slim and trim and tall. He's got a great future ahead of him.
Full count now on Jimmy McGowan, the cleanup hitter for the Albany All-Stars.
You just don't know at this age if he is truly their number one pitcher or if he plays a lot of different positions. I have a nephew that's 10, and he plays.
This ball is ripped into right field, and that's a base hit. Rhodes will field it. And leadoff hitter on via as our first hit of the ball game for Albany.
Nice looking hit. As I was saying, I have a player that a nephew that's 10 years old, and he plays pitcher, catcher, shortstop. So you don't really know what the true development of these young men will be.
And also in this age group, when you're scheduled for a tournament like this with the pitch limits, you need several pitchers. So when you switch pitchers, you've got to be able to play other positions. Right.
I have to believe, though, he's one of their top pitchers because starting out, I think this is their first game, maybe?
This is the first game
I don't think they would start an unexperienced pitcher on the mound.
Spears.
And we have a steal here, a straight steal.
Yeah, Spears showed bunt. I don't think they needed any distraction. Jimmy McGowan
No, he was going to be safe no matter if they showed bunt or not or swung or.
So ball was called. 1-0 the count to Grayson Spears. Now McGowan on second with nobody out here at the bottom of the second inning. Diane, I have to bring it up. Time is called before the pitch. And they're going to call a balk, and that will allow McGowan third base, and we're going to have a conference on the mound. So I've got to bring it up, Diane. I was told that there is quite an honor coming your way. You are going to have the softball field named after you.
Yes, my undergraduate degree was at TWU, and they were naming the field for me on September 21st of this year, and I am just thrilled beyond words. And a lot of the athletes I've coached at Texas Women's University and Stephen F. Austin in Texas are coming back. We have about 500 to 600 people coming back for the day, and it can't get here quick enough.
That is just a tremendous honor and well deserved. I mean, you had such a obviously. You had a great career as a player, but you coached for and influenced so many lives over the years.
Well, sometimes I think coaches get too much credit, but we can lead them to the water, but they have to drink it. And I'd like to believe I set up an environment for them to be successful, but they had to get this stuff done. That's why I'm actually honoring the players. I'm calling it the Diane Baker Legacy, made up of all the players and the coaches that coached with me and the umpires that called against me. So they're coming back for their own legacy.
Well, that's just great stuff. Coaches, you say they get too much credit, but they also get a lot of blame if you're not winning. So you have to be winning to get that credit.
That's true. I mean, you're not going to get any awards if you're not winning ball games.
That's right.
And so I've been, lucky to have won a lot of them. And but again, it goes back to the athletes buying into my system. And like these guys have to buy into the coach's system here. And they just want to play, but it's really the fundamentals of the game, pitching, throwing, catching, running, that makes you a champion. And so I'm sure these coaches here try to push these guys to get that done, and they don't want to do that. They just want to play.
Yeah, this is the fun time, is the game.
That's right.
Speaking of the game, it's 3-1 the count here on Grayson Spears. Nobody out. McGowan at third. No score, bottom of the second. Morgan winds and delivers. That's inside, ball 4. So we will have first and third with nobody out. Albany threatening here in the bottom of the second.
You know, both pitchers have, when they have control of their pitches, they're usually strikes. You have one hit in the ball game. But sometimes they're getting a little bit wild with their delivery, and that's hurting them because they're putting people on. And when you put people on the base, anything can happen.
Walks are always...
They're errors.
Yeah. I swear my mom used to tell me. My dad was a ball player, but my mom said, well, I just consider it a walk and error on the pitcher.
Walk is an error.
So they went ahead with the windup, knowing they weren't going to throw down to second. Just give him second. So Spears takes second base with no throw. And a strike is called on Ethan Ferguson. So now from the windup, let's see if getting back to the windup helps Morgan here. Swing and a miss. And perhaps in younger players, pitchers, they need the comfort of going to the windup. Maybe they're not as comfortable because for some of these kids, this is the first or second year that they've been pitching with leadoffs and from the stretch.
Right.
Downstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. When they're in their windup, they do much more. They do a better job of controlling their pitches, and when they're in the stretch, they seem to be a little bit wild. You got to remember, these kids are 12 years old. 12 years old. They've been on the earth for 12 years only. So, but the kids are getting bigger and more talented at a younger age, and so. They've got to be pretty good at 12 years old.
Absolutely. One of the other things I was going to ask you about, Diane, this, as we've talked, you've been to so many of the tournaments across the country. As this one is chopped, and it's a fair ball fielded at third over to first. Nice play from Wade for the out at first base. But that will bring in the game's first run. Jimmy McGowan crosses the plate. Spears moves up to third.
I think that was the only, Wade had only one play there, and that was to throw to first base. And, so he did the right thing.
The out brings in the run, and this will bring up the center fielder, Riker Moy. What I was about to get to was, you've been to so many tournaments and so many facilities. What do you think here of Snowden Grove Park?
Oh, my gosh, it's a beautiful, beautiful park. The biggest problem with it is so darn big you can't see everybody, and you almost have to have carts to get around it. But it is absolutely gorgeous.
And the way they have it set up where they have the different size diamonds for the different age groups. I mean, this diamond here for the 11 and 12-year-olds, 275-foot fences. The 8 and 9-year-old or 9 and 10-year-olds have shorter fences, and of course the 6, 7, and 8-year-olds have the smaller ballparks, and across the way we have the bigger ballparks for the 13s through 16s.
And then you have clubhouses at each place that cater to the fans, and you have cheerbacks at each location. I mean, as a parent or a fan of the game, what else would you want? You have a beautiful park well taken care of.
And also the overhangs for the fans.
For the shade. And
it can get a little warm here.
Well, just a little bit. Well, I found out the first year I came that they stopped play in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everything was done.
Oh, and that one gets behind Moy. Chance to get home, and he is safe at home. Boy, that was a close play there.
Yeah, I think if Morgan had held on to that ball, that would have been a close call right there. The first year I came, they stopped the games at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, why are you stopping the games? I had a staff out here, and we were selling equipment. They said, it'll rain. And I said, no, it's not going to rain every day at 2 o'clock. And I mean to tell you, every day at 2 o'clock it rained. And I thought, listen, these guys know their area, and I don't need to be challenging them. So it does rain in the afternoon here, but today it might not, because there's not much humidity in the air right now.
With the storm coming through, we might be given a chance, a little reprieve on the heat. It was pretty warm last week. It's going to be a warm one today. They say it's still going to get up to around 95 this afternoon. Our final broadcast game will start at 2, and they will have a 4:30 game as well on these fields today, trying to get a lot of the tournament in on Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
and we're going to have a change of pitchers.
Yeah, I thought they, as I was driving from the hotel, I thought that they would probably move some of these games up, knowing that they're probably going to get some rain on this weekend, at the end of this weekend and into Monday. So it could behoove them to go ahead and do that because the rain is coming.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's coming. One of the other things about this ballpark, and so let's see, I wonder if we can get a shot of some of the outfield out there and some of the other parts of this ballpark. The grounds crew does a fantastic job here. And when there was one night last week where we had an inch of rain in 1 hour, over an inch of rain in 1 hour, and they were ready to play ball the next day.
Wow.
And that was late in the day, and it was over an inch of rain, and it just poured. And the grounds crew here and the way the drainage is set up, they do just a fantastic job. And I know that the tournament officials, from Danny and Bobby and all of them, have done a great job of setting things up. They know what the weather's going to be there. So I think for this 12-year-old group, they're trying to get as many of the games in here on Saturday and Sunday to maybe beat the weather from Tropical Storm Barry coming in.
And it's my understanding that the Snowden family gave this park to the city. What a great gift!
Oh my! Yes.
To the city. But it's my understanding that I know they have some kind of recreation center on the complex, and I think. What do they have, 13 to 15 fields here?
17.
17. That's a lot of fields in one place to maintain like this. Yep. They have it's a beautiful park.
We have 4 over there that are the size for the 9 and 10-year-olds, 5 for the 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, 4 here for the 11 and 12-year-olds, and 4 more. So again, they set it up just so nicely.
Right.
It's well done.
And I think I have all of them in my hotel. So I asked them to put me on the floor that all the kids weren't there, and they put me on the third, and I told them, I said, well, I know you tried, but there's baseball players everywhere. So, it's not 10 minutes from the ballpark, so the parents are going to be convenient. So who do we have here pitching at this moment?
I believe we're going to have Wade come in. He's Chandler Wade will move over from third base. Morgan is going to move. I'm not sure. We're trying to follow the moves because I know that the pitcher has moved, and I believe he went to center field, and the center fielder is going to come in and catch, and Quay Nash is going to move to third. That's my guess right now.
Okay.
We'll follow that as they come along.
This is an example of what we were talking about, that they usually at this age, they know how to play every position. And as they get older, they'll key to 1 or 2 positions at the most.
And I think it's a great thing for kids to be able to play all the positions. One of my, I had the good fortune of playing for some really good coaches when I was, I believe around the age of 13 or 14, I had a coach and we practiced, and we would take infield. Every player lined up at third base and took balls. Then every player lined up at shortstop and took balls.
I did that in college.
And it makes, one, as a coach, you kind of find out who's best at what position, and 2, the players can appreciate what.
Exactly.
And if they ever have to get shifted, let's say there's an injury in a game or something comes up, they have to play there. They've at least had some experience.
Yeah, well, you learn to appreciate your fellow teammates when you have to go play their position.
Okay, let's reset the lineup. On the mound is Chandler Wade. The catcher is Walker. He was in center field. He's now behind the dish. That's a stolen base on the first pitch for Moy. I believe the pitcher, Morgan, I think he went to center. I'm not totally sure. And the catcher, Quay Nash, moved to third base.
I think Albany right now is taking advantage of steals on the bases, taking advantage of maybe inexperience at the catching area. I think that's maybe second or third stolen base so far. And they've caught on that they're not getting thrown out, so they're taking advantage of that.
Swing and a miss. Makes the count, no balls, 2 strikes to Jack Douglas, the first baseman. Douglas looks upstairs for ball one.
There was no hesitation by the player. I don't have his name, stealing from first to second, but
yeah, right. That was Riker Moy.
yeah, and he had no hesitation. He was off quickly.
He's off to go to third, and this one skips away. So yeah, it looks like you're on to that they've decided that we're going to get somebody on. We're going to start running.
Well, Greenville right now is their own worst enemies, and I don't mean to be harsh on them, but they're starting to not catch the ball behind the plate and to make some errors and not to block the ball. And Albany isn't doing a whole lot against them to hurt them, so they're hurting themselves right now, and they need to relax a little bit and try to play a little bit better baseball. And let the other team have to work a little bit harder at getting to bases.
Yeah, only one hit so far, and they've already generated 2 runs and have a runner on third with 1 out. So walks and stolen bases, pass balls can lead to big innings in this type of tournament. And this is a base hit up the middle for Douglas. And that'll bring in the 3rd run of the ball game. So you allow some runners on via a walk, a free pass, and 2 of them have already come around to score, and the score is 3-0.
And here's situation, too, is how much did Wade warm up before he went on to the mound? You know, I didn't see him throw on the side. He went from his position, I believe was at third, and went to the pitching mound, and he probably is not as warmed up as he needs to be. And it's a telling sign right now.
Ashton Turner, the third baseman, steps in. 1 out, Jack Douglas on first, dives back in on the pickoff attempt. Another thing that happens in this age group that I've seen in this age group over the years is, again, when they're in their first year or 2 of leading off and pitching from the stretch, the pitchers throw over to first base a lot, and some of them are preoccupied with the base runner instead of focusing on let's throw strikes. And the percentage of stolen bases and caught stealing is way in favor of stolen bases.
That's true, but right now you got Albany, taking these big leads, and there's no way they could be thrown out at second base. Watch what he's taking right. You know, in a minute he's going to go out an inch a little bit farther and farther and farther. Well, there's no hope at second base to throw him out. So now they're worried about him and can't focus on the mound.
Here he runs. And that throw is just cut off by the pitcher. There was no chance to get him there. He had a good jump, lead.
Yeah, they're taking I'd say a 20-foot lead over here at least. And
that's the 4th stolen base this inning.
Right.
So we've had 2 walks, 2 hits, 4 stolen bases, and a couple of pass balls. And all of a sudden it's 3-0, 1 out. And Ashton Turner looks at ball 2. 2-1 the count. Hey, again, glad you're joining us here for the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series. I'm Ted Rutan, joined by Diane Baker from Shutt Sports and Tucci Bats. And the runner goes and hesitates, and they don't even bother with a throw this time. That's gifting the bases.
Well, Mr. Wade is having a little bit of problem on the mound, and your defense is starting to play down a little bit because of that. If he was in command right now, they would be worried about this. But
this ball's lifted into left field. Caston goes over and makes a fine catch in foul territory. That'll allow the run to score, but they really needed the out. That was a pretty good play looking up into the sun.
Right. It was a very nice play. And it was a short fly ball, but the way these guys on the All-Stars, Albany All-Stars are running the bases right now, they've caught something. They're hot on it. They know they can run the bases, and they're taking much advantage to it.
So 4-0 is now the score that will make that a sacrifice fly. We'll say he caught it in fair territory, just to be generous scorekeepers. This will bring up the top of the order, Hill Murdoch. Hill flew out sharply to center field to lead things off in the first for Albany. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. 2 outs, nobody on. Albany has struck for 4 here in the bottom of the second. So, Diane, the percentage of players that are starting to go to the wooden bats. I know that there are, as the kids get older and some of them are seriously hoping to become, not always sure, but everybody's hoping to become perhaps a professional ball player. They know they're going to have to use wooden bats at some point. There have been more and more wooden bat tournaments and wooden bat leagues. How has that been an effect for you with the Tucci bats?
Well, I want to first say that the reason people are going to the wooden bat is not because it's a better bat than aluminum. Okay? I mean, we all know that.
Right.
We're trying to make the game safer, because these boys are getting bigger, taller, faster, stronger.
Ground ball to second. Cooper over to first.
Some of the states have outlawed the aluminum bat, and because of that very reason. That plays well for our company because they're going to have wooden bats. I know that New York, New Jersey, some of those, New Mexico, have outlawed the aluminum, the aluminum bat. So when they're outlawed, you got to use a wooden bat. So they're going to have to start. I think they should start early and get used to that wooden bat, and not grow up and then have to get used to it.
One thing that I know over time, originally, when aluminum bats first started coming out, and I was playing then, I'm an old guy, and when the aluminum bats started coming out, one of the reasons people wanted to go to the aluminum bats over the first few years was cost, because an aluminum bat would last longer than a wooden bat. But now the cost of an aluminum bat is what, $400 in some cases?
It could be $400 all the way down. So it's the wooden bat definitely is cheaper.
Yes.
Because those bats that we have are anywhere from $129 all the way up probably to $250. And
yeah, and we've got on the screen there the Tucci
right.
Logo or the picture here.
And we are we're a little bit higher of a company in wood bats cost, but because they're hand stripped and they're cut by hand, and we make a stronger bat, and that's why our price is a little bit higher.
Well, and so therefore you probably think it should last longer. It's probably not going to, one of the things about wooden bats was, the wooden bats will break. But in the younger ages, they don't break as much.
No, we're making a really good youth bat, and again, because of our process, our bats are lasting longer. Again, we're just introducing this group to our line. We're brand new. We're out there right now with the bats in hand, showing them to our baseball line, and like I said, that many Major League Baseball players can't be using them if they're not good bats.
Exactly. They're not going to settle for just something that they can go buy down at Walmart.
Right.
Okay, stepping in for the Greenville All-Stars is Kentavious Caston, the left fielder. He made a nice play out there that last inning on that catch. Caston walked and got to third back in the first inning. Let's see if Greenville can get some runners on and get some offense going.
I believe that Spear is still pitching for Albany, right? And he's doing a great job. He's after that first inning, he's settled down, and he's now controlling this ball game, and great presence on the mound.
Yeah, he has 5 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. He let the first 2 runners get on base and then struck out the side in the first.
Now, I don't know what the pitch count is for baseball at this level, but I'm sure he's going to have to, even though he's doing a great job, at some point he'll probably come out of the game late in this ball game, right?
Well, what they have is different levels to see how many days you have to take off.
Okay.
Some coaches will switch after 15 or 20 pitches, and I don't have I've got the rules in here, but I hesitate to look at that while we're doing the ball game. But I know that 85 is the total limit that someone can pitch in one day. They can finish that batter.
Yeah, I'm sure some of our audience wonders what in the world that we would take a good pitcher that's having a great performance out of the ball game, but it's over the pitch count.
And some coaches have strategies, and maybe you can talk about this. Some coaches have strategies where they will just pitch the guy for however many pitches so he can pitch tomorrow also.
Right.
And they may switch 5 pitchers. 2 years ago, we had an experience in this tournament, and it was the 12-year-old, as this is a base hit in the hole between short and third for Jaquavius Nash, his second hit of the ball. He's 2 for 2, the only 2 hits for Greenville.
Yeah, he's got a very nice turn on the ball and good presence, a lot of confidence at the plate. There's no doubt why he's hitting the ball. He's being a little bit more patient for some good pitching.
A couple of years ago, we got to the championship game, and both teams have been using pitchers throughout to get through to the championship game, and one team had saved what they thought was their ace for the championship game. He got to 85 pitches and 2 outs in the 6th inning, and Nash is going. Swing and a miss. They don't even bother with a throw. They got to 85 pitches with 2 outs in the 6th inning and a 5-run lead, and he had reached his pitch limit. They had to bring in another player, and they had no more pitchers. The other team came back and scored 5 in the 6th and won it in the 7th.
Yeah.
So the pitch count, it's one of those things. I know it's designed for the safety of the boys, and let's hope that it does, in fact, work.
And some coaches might think that they have control of the ball game too when they want to get him out of there to save him for tomorrow or the next day, and they'll go ahead and make that switch right now.
Nash running to third, and he goes in standing up. If the throw had been on the other side of the bag, I think he would have been nailed right there.
I tell you, Nash is not a little guy. That young man has some meat to him, and
he has 3 stolen bases.
He just plays the game hard, and likes playing it. You can tell he's running, he's not waiting, and he's challenging that pitcher a little bit to pay attention to him. You gotta like that.
Oh yeah, ball downstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Nash on third. Kennedy Walker at the plate. Walker started out in center field, and he has moved back behind the plate to be the catcher for Greenville when they made their pitching change. Grayson Spears sets, looks at Nash, and delivers. Breaking ball, strike 3 called. Walker upset with himself, not pulling the trigger there. So this will bring up John Haggard.
Now, Walker was started in center field, correct?
Yes.
He had a great presence in center field, very confident.
Looks like, excuse me here, Diane, looks like we're going to have a pitching change. Perhaps there's no other reason than a pitch count to take him out right here. While we have this pitching change, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll see if we can find where everybody's moving in the field. You're watching the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series in South Haven, Mississippi. Ashton Turner, the new pitcher here for the Albany All-Stars. Grayson Spears just moves to third base. And a breaking ball on the first pitch to John Haggard, way out in front. No balls, 1 strike.
That was a beautiful pitch right there.
And obviously that had to be a pitch count situation to get Spears out of the ball game, so perhaps he could pitch. Probably not tomorrow. I think with the number of pitches he threw, he would have to wait, and then he'd be eligible to pitch again on Monday.
And who is on the mound right now, Grayson?
We have Ashton Turner that started at third base, and
okay.
I know he's one of their top pitchers.
I was going to say, it's obvious to me that he knows what he's doing.
Spears across the diamond to first. The ball is high over the head of Douglas, and Greenville will score their first run of the ball game as Quay Nash crosses the plate, and the overthrow from third to first puts Greenville on the board. And, he just moved from pitcher to third, and I don't know if he took any throws from third to first.
Yeah, he had a lot of time. It wasn't like he was rushing anything. It's just
got away from him.
Yeah, we're not perfect. And these young men aren't perfect either. And
major leaguers make errors also.
It just depends on how they adjust to the error after they make it. That makes him a good ball player. So let's leave that one behind and move on.
Deetrin Cooper, the batter, now with one out, 4-1 the score. Haggard at first, and he's running, and the pitch is behind Cooper, so no problem there for Haggard moving up to second base.
And there I was just bragging on him, and he threw behind the runner. But it's obvious that he's one of their pitchers, but because of his delivery and his presence on the mound.
Swing and a miss from Cooper. That'll make it 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Haggard out at second base, 4-1 the score. Albany leads here in the top of the third inning. Outside, and there's a throw down to third, and he's going to be called out trying to steal. So a good throw there from Scoot Peterson to Grayson Spears.
And the coach is not happy. He's ripping them right now, but I tell you what caused him not to be safe. I was looking right at him. He had a very small lead.
And not a big jump either.
No, and so if the throw was on target, he was going to be out. And the coach is ripping him right now. I mean, in a sort of a kind way, but obviously he did not call that steal.
A teaching moment, as they would say.
Yeah, a learning moment, as we'd say.
Yes. Well, they got 1 run on 1 hit, 1 Albany error, and nobody left. We'll go to the bottom of the third inning. The score is 4-1. Albany over Greenville. We'll be back in just a moment. Scoot Peterson will lead things off here for Albany as we start the bottom of the third. They lead 4-1. I'm Ted Rutin, joined by Diane Baker. And Diane, Albany got some runners on and pressed the issue on the bases last inning.
Well, inches and angles are very important in baseball. And if you're going to steal, you've got to take a good lead. You've got to read who you're running to, what base you're running to, and what position they have. I was looking right at second base on that steal, and I noticed that he didn't have a good lead. And it was going to be very hard for him on a good throw to be successful. So that's a learning moment, and the coach probably said to him, one, I didn't call the steal. Number two, you better be safe if you're going.
Right.
And number
you're
three,
go on your own.
You took too small of a lead. And four, you're not a Speedy Rabbit here.
That's right. That's right.
There was a number of things going on right there, and sometimes egos get in the way, and they want to be that person that hits the ball, that steals the base, that hits the home run. And they're young, and you want them to be like that.
This ball's hit out to right field, and it's going to drop in for a single for Scoot Peterson. The third hit of the ball game for Albany, and the leadoff man on for the Albany, Georgia All-Stars.
And Greenville is playing what I call off-the-line positions, left and center. I mean, it's left and right. There was no chance for that young man to catch that ball. He's too far off the line to be able to do that. So it's a beautiful hit.
And we're going to have perhaps a coaching move here, and due to pitch count, we're going to have a pitching change. We'll take a short break. We'll get back with you on who's going to be on the mound in just a moment. Deetrin Cooper, one of the assistant coaches, is talking with home plate umpire Ed Baxter. We are set to go. Looks like we have Haggard on the mound, and he's got the man picked off. They throw down to second. Oh, and they're going to call him safe.
What a nice play to find him safe. I mean, they really had him.
It was a well-executed defensive play right there. You're proud of them as a coach, right?
I would have said great job on that, but apparently there was he got there a second before that throw. I thought
think they said he slid underneath the tag, but he scooted underneath the tag, did Scoot Peterson.
Yeah.
So he's now on at second, credited with a stolen base. Watson Swan is the batter. And out on the mound, Haggard, again paying attention to the runners.
And he had a play.
Yes.
The problem was short and second never covered the base.
They weren't there. So now coming over to cover is Cooper. And they'll throw it back there, but Peterson, now they call him out. Well, you know, is there such a thing as a makeup call?
It is. There is such a thing, and he just made it.
Well, I think they probably deserved it. So, hey, 1 out, and good job by Haggard coming in. John Haggard has come in on the mound, and he made a really nice pickoff move to first. They didn't get the call. Might have been a little late on that one, but they got the call. The coach for Albany's not happy.
Well, he's saying to the umpire that he blocked him with his knee, that he wasn't able to get back to the base. He's not challenging him that he got under the thing. He's challenging him that he blocked the base, obstruction to the base, and he didn't win that argument. I think he was safe, actually. And
but you thought he was out on the play.
I think
prior.
that's one of those that coach says, the umpire says, man, I messed up, and I'm going to make this right. And
he did.
And he did.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count now on Watson Swan. Wind up and delivery from Haggard. Swing and a miss.
Now, when I was coaching, I could always deal with an umpire saying, you know, Coach Baker, I've made a mistake. And if I'd gone out there to him, and before I say anything, he says, I'm sorry, Coach, I missed a call. I'm going to look at him as a human being and say, ooh.
Base hit sharply up the middle. That's the second hit of the ball game for Jimmy McGowan, and it gets by the center fielder, and he's going to head all the way to third, and he has some wheels.
Yes, he does. Wow.
He's 2 for 2. Last time he stole second, was balked to third. This time, a single and an error on the outfielder, and he will be at third base with 2 outs.
He did not slow down. Well, like I was saying, if I go out there and they'd say, I just missed a call, Coach, what am I supposed to do? Argue with them? I'm just going to walk back to the dugout and go, okay, you missed a call, let's get better. You know, and
they have it. Oh, that was a close play on the pickoff at third. Haggard showing some skills on the mound, throwing to the bases.
Well, he's tired of people taking advantage. And he stepped up and said, no, you're not getting these big leads on me. And that's the show of a leader.
And they are going to call a balk. And, So, McGowan will score. He has advanced on a balk from 2 different pitchers already. That's a stat you don't see very often.
Okay, but let me talk to you about why he made that mistake. Where was the runner going to go at third? He was going to go home. He wasn't going to steal home. So keep throwing to third, put you at a disadvantage. But he had him. You know, they've taken these big leads, and he feels like that if I get him off the field. I think it's a great play at first and a great play at second. But when you're trying to pick off at third, if you make any kind of mistake, they score.
And it's not like they're going to run a squeeze play on you with 2 outs.
That's right.
So with 2 outs, it makes little sense other than to just maybe even step off and just look at him and say, you know. So, anyway, regardless, the score is now 5-1 in favor of Albany here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Now, I want to get back to this because this is one of my things I like to talk about with friends about Major League Baseball. And as they've gone to strike call to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes, as they've gone to the replay, one of the things that is missing for me in my entertainment in watching Major League Baseball is the managers running out and having the arguments with the umpires. That was always one of the things of baseball that I really enjoyed.
when we'll get to that in a minute, but did you enjoy going out and having some words with the umpires?
Oh my gosh, I was well known for ripping umpires and then taking them to dinner that night. I was one of those coaches that umpires would send their youth to train them because they better be professional and better know the rules. Always going to be in their face in a professional way. But I don't like the instant replay, to be honest with you. Maybe you use it one time in a game and then let it go. But every time now, everything is so long.
As Haggard threw over to first, and Scott was not even looking for a throw. And that will allow Spears to advance to second base. He was going nowhere. Haggard just turned and threw, and Scott was not even looking. And I think we're going to have a talk about that on the mound.
Yeah, he's gotten a little bit aggressive, too aggressive throwing to the bases right now. He's trying to do too much. But back to you're ripping of umpires. I loved it. I was that coach, but I was friends with the umpires, and sometimes, I'd walk up and say, what do I have to do to get thrown out of this game? Or, what in the world? Or that was ridiculous. Or, you got to get better. But I don't like the instant replay in baseball. I think it takes away from the human element of an umpire calling and the manager get involved, and I might be okay with one time a game for each team, but this constant stopping of the game, making it longer.
One of the other things, and I have friends that played in Major League Baseball, that one of the plays that bothers me is when they replay on the exact tag or the exact touching of the base at second on turning the double play, because for so many years the players knew he's going to make that turn, you get down, and we're not going to get hurt out here.
Right.
But now, if sometimes they have to touch the base longer, there's a nice bunt, and it's going to roll foul. A good attempt there from Ethan Ferguson, but it rolls foul. But one of the things, if they're turning the double play now, they have to hang in there longer to make sure they're on the base, because if they just come off that 1/10 of a second early, instant replay will catch it.
Right.
And by hanging in there longer, they might get taken out by the slide more.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that also maybe has been affected.
Oh, the games have changed in baseball and football. Instant replay. Now the game has changed in college due to the transfer rules. You can't teach kids loyalty anymore if they can transfer at any point they want to for any reason.
Shows bunt again, and that just allows the runner, as you mentioned earlier, the third baseman charging. And again, 2 out. But with the third baseman charging, Spears takes third base with no play.
Well, how you solve that is you move your shortstop deeper into third base and let them be prepared. But
that's a ground ball through the hole, short, and there's an opening in left, big gap in left center. Extra bases here for Ethan Ferguson. He'll pull into second with a stand-up double, and it is 6-1 Albany on top. 2-out rally. They had 2 outs, no one on, and now they've plated 2 on a single, a walk, and a double.
And then it was really close to being obstruction at first base. He actually wound up hitting him. I think the coaches decided not to go out there and talk to the umpires because
since he got second base anyway.
Right.
And they're going to call another balk. I believe they're saying he's not coming set for a count.
They keep giving a signal of staying still for that count, or closing those hands. So
that's 3 balks that have been called. And that's, again, I don't know whether Greenville plays in a league where they have, in their regular season play, where they have pitchers pitching from the stretch very often. Another grounder through the hole, and a base hit will make it 7-1. But that balk right there moved the runner to third, and he scores easily, whereas if he was on second, he might not have scored.
Yeah, chances are they have the same rules. He probably doesn't work it much and doesn't practice it much, and therefore it's causing him trouble against Albany because they run the bases hard.
And now even going from the windup with a runner on first,
The runner goes and no throw. So you see there's something here, and this is something where Greenville coaches will have a chance to talk things over after this game and maybe work with their pitchers a little bit.
And you got to give Albany credit here because they caught on to the fact that nobody's throwing them out. And they're running these guys. And so that's good coaching. Here they go again.
And that is fouled first base side. Scott won't be able to get to it.
What is that? Number 18.
That's Moy, Riker Moy.
He was on the run right there.
And of course, also Haggard is throwing from the windup with a runner on. Now he's trying to make it a quick windup, which is interesting. They're telling him just go ahead and wind. He got that from the coach. Said wind up.
Hey, he's just going.
Fouled back. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jack Douglas.
Now, this is where really you probably could get this guy in a rundown because he's gone.
If you would just step
right now, turn around right now and get him, see? He really has him, but coach told him not to do it anymore.
It's okay if you're going to strike him out for the 3rd out, which he does. However, Albany All-Stars pick up 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left at the end of 3 complete. Albany 7, Greenville 1. We'll be back in a moment.
I mean,
Swing and a miss for Deetrin Cooper, leading things off here in the top of the 4th for the Greenville All-Stars. They need base runners. Diane, they are trailing by 6.
Well, at this point, you just play out by out right now on defense, but offensive, you say we need base running and we need to move them, and everybody has to do their job.
Keep the line moving, but a nice job out there. We had Grayson Spears start the ball game on the mound for Albany, and now he was replaced by Ashton Turner. And Turner, that both of them have done a nice job. They gave up 2 walks and 5 strikeouts for Spears, and this one is lifted foul out of play, left field side.
But he showed good power on that turn, and if he gets a good pitch on a good turn, he's going to hit that ball a long way. Strong batter right here.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Ashton Turner on the mound. And a grounder to third. Spears has plenty of time as the runners. Cooper slipped going out of the box.
And Cooper went in for an inside pitch and got jammed and couldn't get his hands out.
So 1 up and 1 down here in the top of the 4th for the Greenville All-Stars. This ball is ripped into left center.
Tagged.
Chandler Wade put a charge into that one. Moy chasing it down out deep in left center and sliding in safely with a triple is Chandler's Wade.
Well, what a nice hit that was. Greenville has some really big kids and strong kids, and if they start getting some pitches they want, they can hit the ball a long
They're
way.
eager to swing the bat.
Right.
And that ball was ripped. He hit it hard his first time up in center field as well. Strike called on Derek Scott, the first baseman. So 1 out, runner on 3rd. Ashton Turner, the pitcher. Scoot Peterson, the catcher. Swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes. Boy, this is a picture-perfect day for baseball. The blue sky, the soft white clouds out there, gentle breeze, not 95 yet as this one's popped up foul out of play.
Yeah, it's hard to believe 3 hours south is causing a lot of people grief.
Yep, and hopefully that just dissipates. I know it's not going to happen. It's going to go somewhere.
It's going to be a rain event, and if people are smart and they stay off the roads and they protect themselves, then loss of life won't be great, I don't think. It's when people think that they can stay there and protect their homes, or they can go through water in a car.
That's I would think that what I've been hearing is that this is more of a water event than it is a
wind
event. Ball outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
But I've been there, and I'm sure you have too, Ted, that sometimes you look at the water on the road and you think, oh, I can get through there. And then you think, well, can I get through there? And then you back off a little bit. So
and you're better off just saying, never mind.
As I've gotten older, I back off a little bit more.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Derek Scott. 7-1 the score. Wade at third base. That one's down and in. Peterson deflects it enough to keep Wade there at third base.
I'm not sure why the first base coach is so riled up. I think he thought he got hit, but.
And a chopper to third. Spears looks at home, decides he'll just go across, take the out at first base. He concedes the run, but picks up the out. Since they made the pitching change, that's the third chance Spears has had at third base, and he's handled them well. And speaking of pitching changes, we're going to have another one. It's 7-2 here in the top of the 4th. We'll be back with more Dizzy Dean World Series in just a moment. Welcome back to the Dizzy Dean World Series. Jimmy McGowan will come on to pitch. We'll go over the other changes here in a moment. Diane, we've got a good shot right here of some of your Tucci helmets.
Oh, wonderful. Well, they're not. They're
okay.
shut.
They're
helmets.
still shut helmets, but they're going to be.
That's right.
Okay.
What you have down there is you have a 2966, which is a hockey helmet, catcher's helmet, and then you have 2 of the helmets. One is a D30, which comes out with the 4 screws that we've had on the market. That's one of our biggest sellers. And one is a brand new XR1 with the best protection that money can buy for baseball. As you can see, they're custom painted, and we can custom paint any helmet any way you want to at any color.
So anybody has their own logo, they can...
Or Or their own paint, their own logo. We put logos on. And
then we're going to go right here to the other screen here with the Tucci.
Okay.
The bat and
yeah, we got a brand new catalog out with the Tucci bat showing, and this is actually on the catalog is the XR1 with the best protection. I don't know if you can see the black inside. It's really actually material, where the other one has an orange inside. Again, both of the insides will come out. We made the shell a little bit bigger for baseball because we were struggling a little bit with the D3O fitting the guys with big heads.
Jimmy McGowan will be the pitcher. I believe we have Spears and Turner now in the infield, and I think Watson might have moved over to first base and perhaps Jack Douglas out to right field. I believe that is what we have as...
I believe it's 22 at first base.
Yeah. Watson Swan moved from short to first. Turner ends up now at third. Turner at shortstop. Spears at third base, excuse me. I just don't know who the right fielder is. And I believe that might be number 7. Tucker Lianza enters the ball game. So, McGowan on the mound. No runners on. Janarian Morgan, first pitch swinging. McGowan takes 8 warm-up pitches, throws 1, and that'll end the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. 7-2, Albany on top. We'll be back with more in a moment. Ashton Turner will lead things off here in the bottom of the 4th inning for the Albany All-Stars. Albany, Georgia, leading the Greenville, Mississippi All-Stars 7-2. First pitch is downstairs, ball 1. Diane, the Albany All-Stars have been patient offensively at the plate and aggressive running the bases.
Well, I don't know how many steals they have right now, but I tell you, they don't wait 1 second to decide. They go on the first pitch. They don't believe that, Greenville will throw them out. They're challenging them. They're inside the head of the pitcher right now.
And there's a line drive base hit for Turner, leading things off here in the bottom of the 4th. Ashton started at third base, came on to pitch. Now he's playing shortstop, and he's done a fine job throughout.
Let's see if they follow their what they've been doing on the bases and run on the first pitch right now.
Leadoff hitter Hill Murdoch steps in. Hill is the second baseman. And we're going to have another conference on the mound. The head coach for Greenville is Keith Wade. I believe we've mentioned that. And the assistant coaches are John Haggard and Deetrin Cooper. And we're going to have
Number
a pitching
27.
change. So I believe now we will have Quay Nash come onto the mound. He started off the game as the catcher, moved to shortstop, and now he will take the mound. So that one batter must have reached a pitch limit for Haggard. He will move back to shortstop, and Nash will take the mound. He has had a busy day himself. He started off as the catcher, moved to shortstop, now pitching, and he's 2 for 2 offensively. So,
well, right now Greenville has a bigger problem than everything that's going on. They got about 10 minutes of the ball game left, and
the time limit can come into play here.
You know, they've got to get out of this inning before 10 minutes, and get back on the field, the hitting part, and extend it one more inning. I just don't know if they're going to get that done, because I'm sure the other team's going to take your time.
Yeah, that is what a coach would want. If you've got a team that you're pretty sure is going to win, I think the players want to make sure they hit. They don't care how much time it is. They want to hit.
As a coach, I never wanted the time limit if we ever had it to affect the game. So I'd say get out there and get the game played. If you're going to beat them, then beat them on the field, not by the clock.
Hill Murdoch steps in. We're ready for play now. Runner goes on the first pitch. Throw down to second is a good one, and it gets through, however, and it gets past the center fielder. This will score a run as the stolen base, and I thought a pretty nice throw from Walker, but once it got through one player, he was blocking the other player's vision. And
it should have been caught, but it was off to the right a little bit, and you had two players meeting at second base at the same time, and it was causing a little bit of confusion, but the throw was a little bit off to the right.
So a single, a stolen base, an error on the throw, and it's now 8-2 with nobody out here in the fourth. Top of the order up for Albany. Nash delivers.
What I have noticed on both teams is the coaches on both teams are doing a pretty good job of what I call batting fundamentals. The boys are comfortable at the plate. Their stance is good. And sometimes they're not always getting the pitch they want. But the basics of how they are attacking the plate is good.
That one fouled away, keeps the count at 1-2 strikes.
And that just talks to the coaches out there in the nation that are doing a better job teaching our young people hitting. With all the education they have out there now, all the videos,
sure, and all the
clinics,
and the different things to practice. Whether it's hitting off of a tee, that was popped up, foul out of play. Whether it's hitting off a tee or some of the different, all of the different hitting. I don't want to say gimmicks, but some of them are. You've seen them all, I'm sure, on things that supposedly will make you a better hitter. I think if you have a bat in your hands and you swing, it's going to help you become a better hitter.
That's true, but and
that ball will fall in. Good effort there from the first baseman, Scott. But it was directly over his head. Tough angle. Sometimes that might be the second baseman's ball.
And he's getting up a little slow. And yes, I think the second baseman should have called him off, or the right fielder. If the second baseman or the right fielder is under the ball waiting for somebody else to catch it, they got to call it off.
Yeah, that should be their ball in most cases. That's a tough play for the first baseman to turn and run directly over his head.
Right.
So many times when you watch highlights in Major League games, and we're going to have a replacement, I think. Are they just going to bring him some water? So many times that play, though, is made by the second baseman running over by the fence because he has the better angle to get there.
As I said, it's about inches and angles of baseball.
Exactly.
And I do think that the right fielder had to be more aggressive, and the second baseman should have called him off the ball. And if he's backpedaling, it's not his ball.
Right. Well, that's going to they're going to leave him in. He's good to go. Somewhere along the line, we had DeQuarian Poindexter come into the ball game for Greenville. And I'm not sure. I think he's playing center field now. And Peterson shows bunt. They throw over to first.
Back to the gimmicks of hitting and that. They've got these videos now that show in cages where they show a pitcher throwing the ball, and then the ball comes and you hit the ball. It's amazing. the whole setup, and they can get in those cages and they're looking like they're swinging at a live pitcher, and of course it costs a lot of money. But if you're buying it for an organization,
right, and that's what happens is There's another pretty nice throw down to second, and they're going to say safe. And behind the plate, Walker wanted that call. He thought he had him.
A little bit of obstruction again, and
now on the as you were talking about those videos, and if I am correct, that's somewhat like the virtual golf
right, exactly.
screens.
Exactly.
And that, when you buy it for an organization or for perhaps whether it's a baseball workout academy or the facilities that players can go to, like in a city that isn't for one school, just everybody can come in there and work out. Those seem to be really nice additions to baseball.
They are, but I'm sort of like you. If you get a bat in your hand and you hit and short hits and off a coach that's got a screen and you hit and you hit and you hit. The only thing about it is you've got to be
ball chopped, and this is going to be a tough play for the pitcher, but he made it. Unfortunately, Scott couldn't hold on. The runner will come across from third. That'll make it 9-2. Boy, that was a tough play for Nash to get off the mound. He barehanded it and threw.
Nice play right to the first baseman. He just dropped the ball, but back to the hitting, I just think that, the problem with those, what I call the short throwing to guys to get speed, is you don't always throw fastballs and curveballs and knuckleballs and all this, and so then they come to a game and that's what they see. They just see a straight fastball to them and they hit. Even the pros, they throw the ball straight, fast pitch, and then they have to go against a pitcher that's throwing them all kinds of different pitches. So sometimes those little toys, as we call them, come into handy, especially if you can get a curveball thrown to you or, change up thrown to you and learn from that.
We're having a conference on the mound, and I'm not so sure that they aren't wanting to just let the time run out so they don't use up any more pitches for their pitcher. Perhaps to save a pitch count change for later on, because we are getting close to the time limit. It's 10:45 right now. If this game started on time, that time limit has been reached.
Well, I saw that coach raise his hand for 5 minutes, so he knew there was 5 minutes left. And chances are they're just letting the game play out right here, I guess.
If that's the case, the final is going to end up 9-2. Albany is on top, and the umpire is letting the coach know exactly how much time he has left, and that is going to be the ball game. That was the case. I think they knew they were just out of pitchers, and they weren't going to be able to finish this inning in time, so that will be the final score. 9-2, Albany All-Stars over Greenville. Diane Baker, thank you so much for joining us and explaining about your products with Shutt Sports and Tucci. And also, congratulations once again on the honor of having a field named for you. That is just fantastic and well-deserved.
Thank you so much, Ted. It's been a pleasure being with you, and I feel like you're an old friend now. I come back every year, so I really have enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back with one of the players from Albany in just a moment. You've been watching the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series here in South Haven, Mississippi. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the 2019 Dizzy Dean World Series here in South Haven, Mississippi. The Albany All-Stars win this first game 9-2, and we are joined by Jimmy McGowan. Jimmy, 2 for 2, 2 runs scored. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Now, what did your coach say since you guys were playing the first game? What did he say to you before the game?
He said, hit and do your best and always try hard.
Now, you guys had a good pitching performance. You started off with Grayson Spears on the mound, and then probably due to pitch count, Ashton came in, and then they had you come in. What were you thinking? Did you know that you were going to probably get in the ball game on the mound today?
Yes, sir.
And yet you were probably only going to throw a few pitches so you could maybe be ready to pitch again in the next couple of days?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, other than you three, what other pitchers do you have on your team?
We have Watson, Swan, Grayson, Ashton, and Ethan.
And Ethan also. Okay. All right. Well, when you went up there, you guys were aggressive on the bases. Did your coach say anything like, hey, first pitch I want you to go?
Yes, sir. First pitch we usually go, but second we don't.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, Jimmy, congratulations. Hey, who's your favorite Major League Baseball team?
Bryce Hopper.
Bryce Harper's your favorite player? All right, sounds good. Well, Jimmy, congratulations and good luck coming up in the rest of the World Series.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, that's going to do it for our coverage for the first game. We'll be back here at 11:30, and we will have more Dizzy Dean World Series action here from South Haven, Mississippi.